I'll be talking about Easy Fortune Happy Life, a Taiwanese drama that came out in 2009.
In the US at least, Taiwanese dramas used to be way more popular than Chinese ones, so I thought it would be fun to cover one I haven't seen in a long time. Chen Xiaoen is also one of my favorite actresses. She's most popular for Fated to Love You from the year before.
Which, by the way, was the most popular drama that year, so maybe I'll cover that one day. Alright, let's get started. As with all great dramas, this one starts with an accident. An old man is brought into a hospital. Our main girl, Fuan, is there as well to see a friend. They literally couldn't think of a better way to introduce the characters, so the doctors are just like, whoa, isn't this Chairman Yan with a net worth of 80 billion?
I mean, okay, I get that he's a recognizable figure, but why his net worth?
They then go to the next best way to shoehorn a character introduction in, a news report. He started his business 60 years ago with a miracle drug that pretty much does everything. With his health in question, the reporter brings up the question of inheritance. The whole family is the chairman, his dead wife, their daughter, her husband and their son, a dead daughter-in-law, and a grandson. The two possible heirs are his daughter, Feng, and grandson, Dafong. Fuan overhears his family talking about how excited they are for his death, and feeling sorry for him, sneaks into his room. She slips something into his mouth, and the chairman seems to recognize her. Dafong sees her and drags her out. Before it can come to blows, Grandpa regains consciousness. Fuan picks up her little brother and dog, and they head home. They're simple folk living off the earth, you get the idea. On their way home, they see a truck drop a fungus that's popular in Taiwan for its medicinal benefits. It's a protected plant, but people steal it so they can sell it. She decides they should take it home and then to the police station. We see her grandma, and we know she's sick because she's writing a will. You can also tell she's sick because she's coughing a lot. Nah, it's not serious enough. Blood napkin. Oh wait, was that not enough? Then let's cut to a piece of paper that literally just says stage 4 lung cancer. She also pulls out an old watch to reminisce over. There's a flashback, and it turns out that she shares a history with the chairman. Apparently, she saved him one day and they fell in love. Lots of romantic scenes, they kiss, he gives her the watch and promises that he will come back for her. Obviously never did, since she's still waiting. She still has the watch and a little bell he put on her bike. The chairman is on the mend, and after being faced with the reality of his family, he seems to have a lot of regrets. He flashes back to 60 years ago, and we see the reality of what happened. He was hunting when he got caught in a bear trap, and Fuan's grandma saved him. He stole her family's medicinal recipes and used them to start his business. All of that about loving her was just an act. That bell he put on her bike was just so he could hear her coming and cover up what he was doing before she entered the room. Even that watch was just a crappy cheap knockoff. He decides to track down the girl from the hospital since she looks just like the girl he met on the mountain. Almost like they're the same actress. Since the chairman didn't die, the family turns their efforts to his upcoming birthday party. Dafeng's girlfriend, the same reporter from the news earlier, suggests he get his grandpa some of that medicinal fungus. So the next day, Dafeng heads for Fuan's village. He recognizes her and makes the mistake of asking her where he can buy the fungus. She decides to teach him a lesson. She takes him on a long walk through the forest and then pushes him into a mud pit. She then takes the opportunity to lecture him on environmental protection. Just as she's about to leave, a snake shows up and scares her into his arms. Corny. The snake and the pit are both real, by the way. So they're stuck and slowly sinking. Fuan's little brother and grandma are waiting up for her, but then the men from the truck earlier show up to steal their fungus back. Grandma catches them in the act, and in the ensuing scuffle, a pot of coals gets knocked over. A fire starts. Grandma gets peed down out of the house, but then she goes back for the watch. The watch. You have 2 whole grandkids to live for. What are you thinking? So yeah, she dies. Meanwhile, Fuan and Dafong are still stuck. A police officer finally finds them, and recognizing Fuan tells her that her house is on fire. Fuan is as distraught as can be expected as she runs over to her house. She arrives to the news that her grandma has died. Blue, the actor that plays Dafong, is bad. Like, so bad. Look at his face. It's like he just smelled something horrible. Anyway, back to the story. Dafong gets a call from his girlfriend and realizes that they are buying the fungus from the same guys that set Fuan's place on fire. So, way to go there. And that's it. They're orphaned now. I mean, they lost their parents a while ago. Double orphaned. Everyone's just like, ooh, that's rough. Okay, well, good luck then. Dafong goes to pick up the fungus and socks the seller in the mouth. Appreciate the gesture, I guess, but you still bought it, so... A few days later, the village has a little funeral. Super weird how supportive everyone is about Fuan's grandma waiting 60 years for a random dude she met in the woods. That's not admirable, it's just sort of sad. If you're wondering how she ended up with grandkids, in her 30s, her father got sick, so she pretty much sold herself to a man much older than herself, who died not long after their marriage. Then her son fell off a cliff, and her daughter-in-law was stung to death by bees. See? Sad. Fuan and her brother decide to head to the city to find Grandma's lost love. Her plan is just to put up posters, so yeah, that should work. And of course, they pass right by each other. Chairman arrives to the news that he's too late to see Fuan's grandma. This guy tells the chairman her whole life story. Lucky he was there. The chairman decides that the only way he can make things up to her is by taking care of her grandkids. He goes home and tells his family he has made his decision about who will inherit the empire, his lost love's granddaughter. If they don't find her, he will donate everything to charity. There's that stink face again. New character time. This is Dongjie. As you can tell by his rings and wispy mustache, he's a tough guy. Want more proof? Here's him fighting a bunch of extras. Fuan sees them ganging up on him and decides to help out with her slingshot. She runs off before they can catch her. Later that night, Dongjie finds her number on one of her posters. Apparently, in his line of work, if he doesn't repay her, he has to commit suicide. What line of work, I hear you asking? Debt collecting. The business is owned by Dongjie's godfather, and both him and his godbrother are higher-ups. These two have different ways of doing things, with this one often being so cruel that he drives his debtors to suicide, and this one being so nice that he often doesn't get his money back. Either way, business is in hot water. Dongjie's godfather is considering who to give the company to, so 2 simultaneous inheritance plots. Ballsy. Since they're literally sleeping out on the streets, Fuan's brother Pidan gets sick. Fuan goes out to try to find some help. She's having no luck, and then she sees Dafong on the news and decides he's her only chance. She finds his place of work and convinces him to come see her brother. He takes them both to one of their company's dorms, but tells her to leave once he's better. Dongjie calls Fuan and asks how he can repay her. He settles on helping her repay Dafong for saving her brother. Once Dafong leaves, Dongjie comes over. She suggests they make him a home-cooked meal. They wanted it to look like Dongjie was a fantastic cook or whatever, I get that. But whose 7-year-old hands are these? You couldn't find someone under 40 who knows how to cut vegetables? That night, Dafong arrives to a surprise dinner. He slowly but surely starts to warm to her. Back at home, the chairman tells Feng Feng that the girl he's looking for is the same girl that saved him at the hospital, so they get her picture from the security camera and start running ads. Dafong finally realizes who Fuan is, finds her, and tells her he can take her to the man she's been looking for. He brings her home and she finally gets to meet with the chairman. She gives him back his watch and he tells them that they will be living here from now on. It's clear that Yang Yang wants no part in any of the scheming that's coming up. He doesn't seem interested in the inheritance at all. Not that his parents intend to give him a choice in the matter. Grandpa has said that the money will go to Fuan, so of course the next logical step is to get their son to marry Fuan. Dafong has come to the same conclusion and his girlfriend is just like, alright, let's make a plan. How do we make her fall in love with you? Thanks, I guess. Dongjie inherits the company, much to the annoyance of his godbrother. Everyone other than Yang Yang is treating Fuan well in the hopes of getting her money. Dafong turns the charm up to 20 in the hopes of seducing her. I mean, he started at like -10, so it's something. Her new grandpa starts dragging Fuan to everything, including company meetings. He suggests that she come up with the next company product. The staff is just like, who is this? Fuan runs into Dongjie at the library because this is literally the smallest city in the world. Dongjie is having a hard time changing the company culture now that he's in charge. So she's worried about him being stressed, and he's also obviously worried about her being taken advantage of by her new family. I think they made these two too compatible. Why are we rooting for the main lead again? Fuan continues to try to figure out a new product and tries steaming some socks in the sauna to make stink-free socks. She stays there so long that she passes out. Dafong finds her and it's not at all as romantic as I was expecting. Anyway, she's fine. He gives her some brandy-infused chocolates the reporter told him to give her, and they're also an aphrodisiac? I don't know, things get real sexy for some reason, and I wouldn't put it past her. Once research is finished, she presents her stink-free socks to the chairman and he approves the product. Through this whole thing, Dafong and Fuan get closer. Yang and Fuan also get closer and he tells her about his life before she got here. He also used to work for the company. He's actually a certified pharmacist.
他们真心的希望是全世界的人都生病，所有生病的人都只买八宝康的产品。
He quit and started his own bridal company, which is what he does now, which explains why he doesn't care about inheriting the throne. So Dafong continues charming Fuan, and time for phase 2. He invites his reporter girlfriend to the house and introduces her to everyone as Pidan's new tutor. She tries to explain it as an opportunity for her to get to understand the family more and get more exclusives, and I appreciate that they at least tried to explain it, but pretty flimsy excuse.
I was already pretty unsupportive of the main couple, but now that the reporter is in the house, it's much worse. I mean, you show me Dafong fooling around with his girlfriend in Fuan's room and then expect me to want them together? Pidan has a family day coming up and Grandpa insists that everyone help out. They need to make something by hand that represents family. Fuan invites Dongjie as well. Fuan finds out that Dafong lost his parents after they got into an accident going to buy him a fire truck toy. She remembers seeing something similar, so she sneaks into a storage place and wouldn't you know it, it's the first box she sees. And it's open too. She sprains her ankle going up to get it and calls Dafong to come and get her. Once he arrives, she gives him the fire truck. Based on the story, I don't know why she thought this would make a good present. Hey, here's a reminder of the worst day of your life. The fire truck your parents died trying to get. You're welcome. She thanks him for all the things he has done for her and hopes she can see him smile one day. Feeling guilty yet? Yeah. He goes to see his girlfriend and try to get his head back on straight, but she just keeps pushing him towards Fuan.
快点回家.
She sends him away, telling him to focus on the big picture, so he goes home and asks Fuan to officially date him. He promises to bring something great to Pidan's family day as a sign of his sincerity. The next day, the family heads to Pidan's school. Fengfeng and her husband, Dafong, and Dongjie should be coming. Of course, everyone is faced with some random mishap, so we think they won't make it. Dongjie gets into an accident, Dafeng's car gets towed, these two are just late. The other kids show off their super impressive talents and projects, and finally, it's Pidan's turn. Fengfeng and her husband show up with a family portrait. Like any good artist, Fengfeng is totally unbiased and objective in her depiction of the family. Dongjie makes it as well. He plays guitar while Fuan and Pidan sing a song. With that, the day ends. When she gets home later, she finds Dafong and they immediately get into another argument about family day. They should have made it so Dafong was the one who got into a car accident so he would have a leg to stand on in this argument. I mean, your car got towed? That's the excuse? Dongjie is actively bleeding out. The reporter and Pidan arrive to find them bickering, but like cute bickering. Might have accidentally fallen in love bickering. Predictably, the whole situation starts to get to her. The reporter is also straight up seducing Pidan to get any information she can out of him. She's pretty gross. One night, she spots Yang bringing Fuan home and immediately sets her sights on him, thinking he might be trying to steal the inheritance. Everyone in the family is pretty sure that Yang is gay, so when he takes her home, she tries to test him. She's absolutely convinced that anyone who could resist her advances must be gay. So she keeps pushing, and finally he's just like, alright then. Really got yourself into it now, reporter lady. So she's made her bed and now she has to commit. Yang doesn't really think she likes him, but is curious about why she's pretending, so he agrees to be her boyfriend. Meanwhile, Fuan starts to spend more time with Dongjie, much to Dafeng's annoyance. They go out one day and find themselves at a kiwi promotional event. They're selected to go up on stage, and we find that Dafong has followed them. The event is couples only. It's really specific, a kiwi-themed couples event. So he sneaks in using a kiwi outfit. Fuan and Dongjie answer questions about their relationship like one of those couples game shows. And things are going so well that it's not long before the crowd starts with the classic "kiss her" chant. It looks like Dongjie is going to go for it, and then he's attacked by a kiwi. And then Dongjie's godbrother shows up and gets into another kiwi outfit. So now there's a kiwi with a knife. This drama is so ridiculous. The kiwi is going to stab Dongjie to death. The crowd must be so lost. Dafong tries to protect Fuan and then gets pushed down the stairs, and they pull off the kiwi suit to find, Dafong. There are like 5 steps. And he was protected by that huge kiwi suit. Okay. And if that wasn't enough, here is the corniest part of the show. Dafong is in some kind of purgatory of unconsciousness.
Grandpa shows up, blah blah blah, this is what you get, all you wanted was power, blah blah, now you're dead, no one will cry, blah. He gets black wings, which I guess means he's stuck here, and then they hear Fuan's voice and his wings start to fall apart. Grandpa's like, congrats, someone really cares for you, guess you don't belong here. It's just ridiculous. So Fuan's tearful pleas bring him back, and yeah, that's it. So now they're totally in love, and the writers are just patting themselves on the back for that incredible exchange. Speaking of love, Yang is the perfect boyfriend. The reporter chick was annoyed at first, but seems to be slowly coming around. One day when she visits his work, a guy pervs on her and he decks him.
她是我的女人。
Are you still doing this to mess with her? Because you're going too hard, dude. I'm in love with you. It also seems that Yang accidentally started liking her as well. Classic. Now that these two are officially dating, he becomes even more overbearing. They try to frame it as, oh, he's so jealous, but this dude might just be a psycho. It only works because Fuan is pretty much a doormat. And then he proposes to her. For your information, it's been like a month, and they've only been officially dating for maybe a day and a half, so of course she says yes. So it looks like we've got our two happy couples, and that's it, the end. Oh, what's that? 7 more episodes to fill? Well, what else could we possibly— oh, I know! Dafong is sick. He passes out during a meeting and they take him to the hospital for a checkup. The doctor says he has a malignant tumor and gives him 3 to 6 months. Dafong is put on leave to recover, die. Fuan, of course, insists on taking care of him. There's that stink face again. With his impending death, Dafong begins to see how lucky he is to have Fuan. Dafong visits the reporter lady's house and pretty much wishes her well with Yang, and she's like, yeah, alright then, bye. She obviously isn't the type to stick around with him now that he's dying. I think they both knew their relationship was mostly business. When Dafong gets home, he finds Fuan ready to get married. He tries to reject the offer because—
我只剩下3个月性命哎。
but Fuan doesn't care. He gives a really rather sweet speech about how little he'll be able to do for her with only like 4 months of time, and then Grandpa reveals the big surprise. The cancer was fake. He had the hospital fake everything as a way to test if Dafong had really changed. Based on the way he acted to protect Fuan even on the verge of death, he's convinced Dafong is the one that he can trust with Fuan and his company. Preparations for the wedding start in earnest. Fuan asked the reporter to be her bridesmaid. Now that I think about it, Fuan doesn't really have any friends other than Dongjie, so I guess it makes sense. Dafong is obviously completely in love with Fuan at this point, and no amount of cleavage will change his mind. Now that it looks like Dafong will live and get the inheritance, the reporter is no longer willing to settle for Yang. When they speak in private, she makes her feelings clear to Dafong. He is totally uninterested. She then switches tactics and threatens to tell Fuan the truth about why he started a relationship with her. Yang overhears everything. Fuan gives Dongjie an invitation to the wedding. He's happy for her, so really the only person that's not happy is the reporter. Okay, wedding time. Everything happens so fast. It's small, just the family and Dongjie. Grandpa walks her down the aisle and no one objects, and just like that, they're married. Yang and the reporter show up in time for the after party. She says she wants to say goodbye to Pidan since she won't be able to tutor him going forward, but once they're alone, she says she has a gift for him. She tells him it's hidden in the special box, safe, in Dafong's room, and tells him the password. Meanwhile, Dongjie is sad and brooding about Fuan's marriage. In my opinion, as a viewer, love triangles are only interesting if the outcome is unknown and you're wondering who will end up together. She's married, so this just feels kind of pointless. And they just now try to reveal his backstory. Oh, your parents are dead? So are everyone else's. Pidan is finally able to sneak into Dafong's room and open the safe. He's so shocked by what he sees that he immediately goes to get Fuan. It's the fungus. When she asks her aunt about it, she tells her that Dafong got it a few months ago for Grandpa's birthday. Based on the time frame, it's obvious that it's the one that caused her grandma's death. Her aunt just keeps blabbering on and accidentally spills about the whole marry Fuan and get the inheritance thing. That's enough for Fuan. She tells Pidan to pack his things. They come out again in the clothes they brought with them. Grandpa tries to tell her it wasn't done on purpose, but Fuan can no longer trust them. He admits to everything, that the whole thing with her grandma was a lie, that he started his business with the recipes he stole from her family, that he really only started to regret it when he was close to death. He tells her she has changed everyone here and he doesn't want her to go. At the end of the day, he's still being selfish. He wants her there because she makes his family better and makes him feel less guilty. She leaves and Grandpa just has a heart attack. I was worried that after all this build-up, the final reveal would not live up to it, but this was actually really good. Very dramatic. Dafong comes home to an empty room. When he calls his aunt, she tells him Fuan knows about everything and no one can find her. Dongjie is out looking for her as well. This is the only time I'll accept this crazy coincidence city because this is really sweet. He takes her to his house, and when Dafong comes by again later that night, he sees her bike outside. Finally, Fuan meets with him. Now that she knows the truth, she can't trust any of the things that happen to them. She feels like everything might just have been part of his plan to make her fall in love with him. And honestly, it mostly was. She tells him it's over. He has to go when he gets a call from Yang Yang about Grandpa's worsening condition. The reporter goes to see Yang Yang at the hospital, still playing the supportive girlfriend. Unfortunately for her, P-Dan actually told Yang Yang he was looking for a gift from the reporter, so he knows she was behind all of this. Dafong arrives in time to hear Yang Yang tell the reporter that he knows about everything, including her relationship with Dafong. She leaves and Dafong reunites with the family. The chairman is unconscious, and this time when offered surgery that might save his life, the family jumps at the chance, but Dafong rips up the consent form. Now that Fuan's broken up with him, he's decided to throw all his character development out the window. So Grandpa remains unconscious. Dongjie takes Fuan back to her old village. She gets a job in one of the shops and decides this will be her new life. P-Dan goes back to his old school and she starts studying to get a license to practice medicine. Dafong officially takes over the company and gets back together with the reporter, but they have to be as secretive as they were before since he's still legally married to Fuan. He's acting like his old self but doesn't seem very happy. Yang Yang comes to visit Fuan at her shop. He apologizes for not saying anything earlier, but thanks her for the effect she had on his parents, who are definitely better people than they were. I'm glad at least these two are still friends. Dongjie is hanging around a hospital one day. Can you believe the audacity of this girl? You see I'm in a wheelchair, right? The old man drops a photo and Dongjie picks it up. It's a photo of his mom. Bam, Grandpa. Okay, I'm being dramatic. They did make an effort to develop the story, but it just wasn't enough to make me care. The reporter goes to see her mom in a nursing home and finds Yang Yang. Apparently, though they never discussed it, he's been secretly visiting her mom and taking care of her. They added this as if the reporter needed a reason to fall in love with Yang Yang. How about just one redeeming quality for her? The chairman finally regains consciousness in time for a big press conference Dafong has scheduled. The conference starts and Dafong tells everyone he has some big news. He is resigning as chairman. Obviously news to her. He tells everyone that he has realized money isn't important and he just wants to be happy. His grandpa's proud of him, the reporter not so much. Once she reveals her true colors, he makes it clear that he could never be with her considering how much she hurt his family. Kind of revealing her shitty personality to the whole world here. She runs out and Dafong officially hands the reins to Feng Feng and her husband. Fuan finds out that Dafong has been working on protecting the fungus that keeps getting stolen from the mountain area. He even sent food and supplies to the villagers. Finally, the village elder shows her something he's been working on for a while, a rebuild of her old house. He's going even further as we find out that he's going undercover with cops to try to catch the guys that are stealing and selling the fungus. Since they recognize him as a buyer from before, they're hoping he won't raise any alarms. Fuan happens to be in the area at the time and recognizes the truck. She hides in the bed, hoping to find their headquarters and turn them in. So of course, the driver gets to HQ, immediately flips over the cover and finds her hiding. This is why you make a plan first. Since they know these two are married, they suspect this is some kind of trap. Dafong tries to throw off their suspicions by slapping her. He tells them he was planning on divorcing her anyway and they can just go ahead and kill her. When they go outside to toss her off a cliff, the cops are able to surround them. Things devolve into a fistfight and Dafong falls down a cliff. He's pretty much fine though. She escorts him back home but still intends to go back to her village. So as with all great dramas, this one ends with an airport goodbye scene. You know, I don't want you to go. I don't want to go either. Then kiss me. Okay. We then cut to 2 years later. Feng Feng and her husband have taken over the company. Well, really just Feng Feng. Grandpa is now best friends with Dongjie's grandfather and he bikes now. Dongjie and Fuan decide to go back to school and get degrees. Fuan and Dafong are back together and she's pregnant. Because Dongjie is so pitiful, they literally just in the last minute toss in some random girl. Just, bah, Here she is. Don't be sad about this lonely guy. He got a girl. These two end up together. So we're all just one big happy family. The end. Okay, first of all, Yang was the best character and he did not deserve to be saddled up with a reporter lady who had literally zero redeeming qualities. I think that might be the only thing I disliked about this drama, aside from Blue's acting. I mean, yes, it was corny and poorly edited, but you know, that's the kind of drama it is. You don't watch a horror movie and then get mad when it doesn't make you laugh. The main couple was honestly one of the cutest I've ever seen. Physically. What I mean is if I had never seen this drama, I would think they looked great together, but their characters seem like they would make a terrible couple in real life. She's just so easy to walk all over and he's so willing to do it. Anyway, now there's a kid, and as we know, babies fix all relationships, so they should be fine. Also, there's this weird kiwi thing throughout the whole drama, but most of the time there isn't even a company name, it's just kiwi. Is this product placement? Did the entire kiwi industry just band together and pay for it? So many questions. Anyway, overall, fun rewatch. Cornier than I remember, but fun. Till next time, thanks for watching.